continue. Also, another shot fired to the showdown between the White House and the Congress. A Senate panel has now approved the use of subpoenas in the probe over those fired U.S. attorneys, inching both branches of government closer to a constitutional collision. And the man formerly known as the Hammer pounds away. The former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay, Tom DeLay has a new book. In it, he calls Bill Clinton, and I'm quoting now, slimy, and claims Clinton cheats in life and in golf. And Tom DeLay says Newt Gingrich secretly cheated on his wife, all during Bill Clinton's impeachment. Tom DeLay is here in the Situation Room this hour. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. It's a very painful moment for presidential candidate John Edwards and his family. Today we learned that Elizabeth Edwards' cancer is back. Our Mary Snow is in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where the couple made the announcement. Mary, update our viewers who may just be tuning in what we learned.
Well, Wolf, John Edwards and Elizabeth Edwards decided that they wanted people to hear from them the sobering news, and that news is that Elizabeth Edwards' cancer is back. It is not curable, but it is treatable. This came in a news conference where the couple came here to Chapel Hill, nearby where they live, to make that announcement. However, they also said they talked yesterday and they have decided they are going forward with John Edwards' presidential campaign, saying that they are committed to doing this. Now, in terms of going forward with that campaign, Elizabeth Edwards said she is certainly ready. She said she had the press conference because she wanted people to see that she is not sickly and she will be going through treatment, but the couple says the treatment will not affect the campaign. This is some of what she had to say today.
John was saying that last week people asked him how I was doing, and he said she's cancer-free. It turned out not to be the truth, but it was that attitude of, you know, we're gonna always look for the silver lining. This is what happens to every cancer survivor. Not that you ultimately get a bad diagnosis, but every time you get something suspicious, you go into alarm mode. And that's all. Every cancer survivor that you know personally has exactly that experience of knowing that that pain they feel in their side, the ache they feel someplace, could be the sign of something worse. This turned out to be. And I'm actually very lucky that I cracked this rib, because if I hadn't cracked it, I wouldn't have gotten the chest x-ray that identified the suspicious place. The only thing that hurts me on my whole body is my rib right here, and honestly, I bless it, because that's the reason that I'm able to stand before you with a smile.
Again, Elizabeth Edwards' doctor saying that this is stage 4 breast cancer, but is largely confined to her bones. Wolf?
Well, what did they say? What kind of treatment did the doctors say she's going to have to endure right now? And what did they say about her prognosis?
Well, in terms of the treatment, they say over the next week or two, they'll have a clearer idea. They're still doing tests, so they don't know the exact treatment. They do say, though, that surgery is not an option at this point. She's going to be having some form of chemotherapy. In terms of the prognosis, the doctor was not as specific, but said that there are people who live with this kind of cancer, that it is treatable, but didn't really go into more specific prognosis than that. All
right, we're going to have a lot more on this story coming up. Thank you for that. This is not the first time. This is not the first time that this family has faced this kind of hardship. The couple's first child, 16-year-old Wade, died when the car he was driving flipped over several times and caught fire. After that accident back in 1996, Elizabeth Edwards quit her law practice. She stopped exclusively using her maiden name and instead took her husband's last name. Also, as Mary noted, she underwent treatment for some breast cancer just after her husband's 2004 campaign. The couple often talks about their proudest moments. They have 3 surviving children. They married back in 1977 after meeting in law school. We're going to get back to this story, but let's get to some other important news we're following here in Washington. The Senate panel does not back down in its stare down with the White House. Regarding the probe into those fired U.S. attorneys, the Senate Judiciary Committee signals it's ready to go to the mat, the same way President Bush says he is. Our congressional correspondent Dana Bash is on Capitol Hill with more on today's developments. Dana?
Well, Wolf, we now have what amounts to a double-barreled threat coming from both sides of the Democratic-run Congress. And today it may have been frustration, it may have been a negotiating tactic, but the Democratic Judiciary Chairman, he sounded angry.
What we're told we can get is nothing, nothing, nothing. We're told that we can have a closed-door meeting with no transcript, not under oath, limited number of people, and the White House will determine what the agenda is. That, to me, is nothing.
Like the House did a day earlier, Senate Democrats authorized subpoenas for Karl Rove and other Bush aides to testify about why federal prosecutors were fired. The subpoenas won't be sent yet. Democrats just wanted a bargaining chip.
It'll only strengthen our hand in getting to the bottom of this.
Senators sparred over the prospect of a constitutional clash with the White House. Most Republicans calling it too soon to threaten subpoenas.
Do the informal interviews that they have suggested, and if that is not sufficient, then we would be in a position to articulate with specificity, perhaps, a basis to justify a subpoena.
The committee's top Republican suggested sending the White House a counteroffer, but the Democratic chairman said why bother, since the president's offer seemed to be take it or leave it.
He made it very clear through his spokesman that it's non-negotiable.
A press secretary getting tough doesn't mean that he can't be softened up.
Do you mean
A senator getting tough, now that's another matter.
you mean that the president would purposely mislead us?
That led to this observation.
This is high school. This is about who can make somebody bloodied, who can make somebody look bad. A no is not always a no. My wife said no the first 4 times I tried to take her out on a date.
The question now is, when will these judiciary chairmen in the House and the Senate who have the authority to issue subpoenas actually send them to Karl Rove and others? The Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid said today that he thinks if there isn't some negotiation, some compromise by the time Congress gets back from spring break, he thinks that the chairman should actually issue the subpoenas then, Wolf.
And Harry Reid also has some tough words for Karl Rove, the president's top political advisor. What did he say?
You know, if you had any doubt about how the Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid feels about the president's top political advisor, you won't after you read this quote. Check it out on the wall next to me. Here's what he said. He said, when you're dealing with the cast of characters we have, you might consider putting people under oath. Karl Rove is an example who came within this close of being indicted for involvement in the Valerie Plame case, so I certainly think people should be under oath. At least Karl Rove. Now, Democrats kind of loathe and revere Karl Rove all at the same time. They kind of think he's the mastermind of politics, but also the master of dirty tricks. And I think you can pretty much see how Harry Reid feels about him, maybe the latter in this particular case.
Dana, thank you. We want to take a closer look now at what would happen if Congress takes on the White House. Step 1, the House and Senate Judiciary Committees issue subpoenas in hopes of forcing testimony from White House officials. Step 2, if President Bush stands by his assertion he'll go to the mat, Congress could pursue contempt citations. Step 3, those citations may require a full vote of the U.S. House of Representatives or the U.S. Senate. Step 4, with congressional approval, the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. could impanel a grand jury to seek the indictment of administration officials for refusing to testify. Dana Bash and Mary Snow, as you know, are part of the best political team on television. And remember, for the latest political news at any time, check out our political ticker at cnn.com/ticker. Let's go to Jack Cafferty. He's in New York with the Cafferty File. Jack.
Sounds like there's a lot of good stuff to look forward to here.
Yes.
Parts of Iraq are no more dangerous than Detroit or Chicago. So says Michigan Congressman Tim Walberg. In a radio interview, Walberg, a Republican, said that troops coming back from Iraq tell him that about, quote, 80 to 85% of the country is reasonably under control, at least as well as Detroit or Chicago or any of our other big cities, unquote. Well, needless to say, some people in Detroit and Chicago are none too happy about that. A spokesman for Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick says it's absurd to compare Detroit and Iraq, and the state Democratic Party chairman has demanded an apology from Walberg, calling the comparison unconscionable. In another interview this morning with a Detroit radio station, Walberg attempted to make nice. He said his comment was not meant to be negative about Detroit, but rather meant to be encouraging, expressing what the troops want the American public to know about the successes in Iraq. Wahlberg says he grew up in Chicago and has spent a lot of time in Detroit. How much time he spent in Iraq, we don't know. Here's the question. What's your reaction to a Michigan congressman saying that parts of Iraq are no more dangerous than Detroit or Chicago? Email your thoughts on that to CaffertyFile@CNN.com or go to CNN.com/CaffertyFile. Wolf?
I guess the new UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, he learned that maybe Baghdad is a little bit more dangerous than New York today.
Well, I don't think there are a lot of IEDs and car bombs and suicide bombers running around America's major cities, at least not today.
Thank God for that, Jack.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Want to get back to our top story. John Edwards and his wife making an appearance earlier today announcing that her cancer has come back. I want to play this emotional statement that the senator made, the former senator made, the Democratic presidential candidate, in explaining what was going on.
The campaign goes on. The campaign goes on strongly. Elizabeth and I have talked at length about this already, talked with our children about it. Basically, as I mentioned earlier, we've been confronted with these kind of traumas and struggles already in our life, and we know from our previous experience that when this happens, you have a choice. You can go cower in the corner and hide, or you can be tough and go out there and stand up for what you believe in.
And coming up, we're going to have much more on this sad story. John Edwards standing by his woman, Elizabeth Edwards standing by her man. Much more coming up. Bill Schneider will have more on the political fallout of what's going on. Also, Tom DeLay is back with a new book. He's hammering away at some top politicians. Wait till you hear what he has to say about some top Democrats and Republicans. All that coming up. The former House Majority Leader standing by here live in the Situation Room. Plus, the battle back home over the war in Iraq. We're going to go live to Capitol Hill, where the political fight is quite fierce today. Lots more coming up right here in the Situation Room.
The Situation Room, brought to you by Macy's.
I fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day.
Introducing Fit Matters, a new service to help you find the right bra for the right fit, whatever your shape and style. Exclusively at Macy's. Holes. The advanced technology behind Tylenol Rapid Release Gels. Laser drill design for rapid release.
Electricity. You flip a switch, the lights go on. But will we have safe supplies of electricity to meet our fast-growing needs? Today, nuclear energy provides 1/5 of America's electricity. Tomorrow, it could supply even more. And nuclear power plants don't emit greenhouse gases, so they preserve our environment. We need to reduce our dependence on foreign energy. And we also need clean air. With nuclear energy, we can do both. Nuclear, clean air energy.
Tonight on 360, the man who fatally shot a judge in a crowded courtroom. Incredibly, the trial has been delayed again. Why? We're keeping him honest. 360 tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern.
J.D. Power Automotive Ratings. Everybody wants them, we've got them. In our new interactive video buying guides, now at vehix.com.
Hello? Hey, it's Roger again. This time I'm calling you on my new Comcast digital voice home phone service.
I told you last time, tattoos are permanent.
I know what you said before, but I was talking on my old phone service.
So?
Now I'm talking to you on my new Comcast service.
Sorry, Roger, you're Tiger now.
Sorry? I have Comcast digital voice.
Your phone calls won't change. They'll just cost less. Comcast Digital Voice. It's Comcasting.
Let's get to the truth. It's time for
answers. New Dobbs Tonight, CNN 6 Eastern.
My next guest is known for not mincing any words. The former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay is out with a new book. It's entitled No Retreat, No Surrender, One American's Fight, and he trains his fire on both Democrats and Republicans. Tom DeLay is here in the Situation Room. Thanks very much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Almost every page, something jumps out at you. Let me read page 125, these two sentences. Newt Gingrich was having an affair with a staffer during the entire Clinton impeachment crisis. Clearly, men with such secrets are not likely to sound a high moral tone at a moment of national crisis. Did you know that was going on during the height of impeachment?
Well, I had no idea, but Newt was acting strange. Newt, during that period of time, didn't go on television very much, didn't rant and rave about things like he normally does. He chewed me out at one time when I told him that I was going to call for Bill Clinton's resignation. It was strange, and yet we went ahead and did what we thought we had to do. And
so the other day when he acknowledged that he was having this affair during the entire impeachment process, you were not surprised, though?
No, I knew it afterwards. It's been public knowledge, the affair. The next year it came out. It wasn't as public.
How would you feel about him if he decided to run for the Republican presidential nomination? Is he qualified, from your perspective, to be president?
Well, it depends. If he has repented and he is now a different person, if he's learned management style, he's a brilliant man. I say it in the book. He's a brilliant man. He has great ideas. He's very articulate in putting those ideas forward. I didn't go after anybody, Wolf. What I did was I talked about my strengths and my weaknesses and everybody else's as it relates to what was going on. This book is about an in-depth account of the history of the Republican majority, and it's a challenge to those to stand up for what they believe.
What I'm hearing, in contrast to Rudy Giuliani, whom you couldn't support because of his views on some of the social issues like abortion, potentially you could support a Newt Gingrich.
No, what's going on here is the Republicans have time to wait for a leader to emerge. I think it's really interesting. The media has already picked the Republican frontrunners. When the polls say that 50 to 60% of those who are going to vote in the Republican primary are doing what I'm doing. We're sitting back and we're waiting for and begging for a leader to emerge. In the next few months, we'll see if that happens.
Here's what you read on page 115 in the book, No Retreat, No Surrender. Then there was Dick Armey, a gifted man, but a man so blinded by ambition as to be useless. Dick was a poor leader who also was contaminated by the academicians' dysfunction. There were few fresh ideas coming from his direction. He was a powerful leader in the House, but you didn't have very high regard for him.
But I also say in the book that he was wonderful at putting together the contract with America. He did a fantastic job in writing the Homeland Security bill. He brought conservative ideas to our legislation. Again, I was pointing to strengths and weaknesses as it related to history.
Lest there be no doubt, you don't only go over after your fellow conservatives. You have some harsh words for liberals and for Democrats, including Bill Clinton. The truth is that Bill Clinton was slimy. Rumors of his vile language, you write, ill treatment of workers and general slovenliness arose from the stewards on Air Force One, from the staff at Camp David, and from White House personnel. You don't like this guy at all, do you?
It's not a matter of liking him. It's a matter of pointing out that he is character challenged. We all know that. Anybody that cheats at golf, it tells you a lot about his character.
Is it your sense that he will be a major player if his wife, Senator Clinton, becomes president of the United States?
No doubt about it. Listen, the Democrats and the Clintons have put together the most powerful political coalition that I've ever witnessed in my career. They've taken 5 to 6 years to put this coalition together. The Podestas, the Ickeys, the Halperins, the Blumenthals, and that coalition is Hillary's. If the conservatives don't get their act together, Hillary Clinton, in my opinion, will be the next president.
The book is entitled No Retreat, No Surrender. But a lot of people have already commented, you retreated, you surrendered when you decided to give up your job as the House Majority Leader.
I don't see it that way. I see it as fighting in a different arena. When I decided to resign, I knew I had to do two things: push the conservative cause and support Israel. And I knew that if I got reelected, I'd just be a rank-and-file member. I couldn't be a leader. So I could push the conservative cause and support Israel in a much more meaningful, constructive way outside of Congress.
Why is supporting Israel? I can understand you're Mr. Conservative. Why is supporting Israel such an important issue for you?
Oh, I've been the #1 supporter of Israel in my entire career. It started with me joining the Refusnik movement and getting persecuted Jews out of the Soviet Union in the 80s. I have been, as a leader in the Republican majority, and it's all in the book, I've been the #1 guy to defend Israel against all comers and make sure that America stands strong in support of Israel.
The book is entitled No Retreat, No Surrender, One American's Fight. Tom DeLay is the author. Congratulations on writing the book.
Thank you very much.
We'll hopefully you'll be back here soon. Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
And still ahead, her cancer is back. What impact with Elizabeth Edwards' new health crisis? What impact will that have on her husband's presidential campaign? Our senior political analyst Bill Schneider standing by to show us. Plus, new arrest in a deadly terror attack. Stick around. You're in The Situation.
Tonight on 360, the nation was transfixed by the hunt for the man who fatally shot a judge in a crowded courtroom. That was 2 years ago. Incredibly, the trial has been delayed again. Why? We're keeping them honest. 360 tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern.
This is our country.
After 89 years in the making, this is our truck. The 2007 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. The all-new Chevy Silverado.
All right, international shipping. Well, your products are on a plane, ready to go to your customers in Europe to arrive on Friday. But Italy wants it there by noon, Paris early morning, and London late afternoon. Well, if you had a UPS logo, now when your customers ask, you can say, si, oui, and yes. It's not international shipping. It's international shipping with UPS. And you even got a little tailwind.
I love this one. This man finally popped the question.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
But his Visa card was over the limit.
So sorry. There seems to be a problem.
His fiancée told him to call American Express.
Okay, this one's so cool. A Gold Card member wanted a special gift for his wife's birthday.
Oh.
So I got him tickets through Gold Card events for the concert of the year before they went on sale.
Got him.
Call 1-800-THE-CARD for the Preferred Rewards Gold Card.
This one's quite romantic. Card member calls up, wants to take her husband to this really authentic Italian restaurant. I say, it's easy with our rewards program. Go online, pick almost any flight, you can pay with points, and go.
Tiramisu.
Italian food in Italy. Bellissimo.
Get up to 5 additional Preferred Rewards Gold Cards for one low fee. Call 1-800-THE-CARD and apply for the card that can get you more.
Your risks can change quickly. Make sure your insurance stays in sync. Travelers.
Check in with Carol Costello. She's monitoring all the feeds coming into the Situation Room, the wires. What are some headlines, Carol?
Got them right here. Well, 3 men are now in custody in connection with the 2005 London transit bombings. 52 commuters and 4 bombers were killed in the attacks. No one has ever been charged. British authorities say 2 men were arrested today at Manchester Airport as they prepared to board a flight to Pakistan. The 3rd was arrested at a house in Leeds where police have been searching 5 homes. 4 people are dead after a second day of fighting in the Somali capital of Mogadishu. Government forces clashed with Islamic insurgents who are trying to oust Somalia's Ethiopian-backed interim president. Scores of residents have been fleeing their homes. Somalia's deputy defense minister blames the fighting on what he calls terrorists, including al-Qaeda agents. He pledges that the Somali government will defeat them. New developments in the case of a former astronaut, Lisa Nowak, who's accused of trying to kidnap a romantic rival. Today, Nowak's attorneys formally entered a not guilty plea on her behalf. Nowak has been charged with attempted kidnapping, battery, and burglary of a vehicle with a weapon. Her trial is set to begin on July 30th. She is now free on bail and did not appear at today's arraignment in Orlando. Back to you, Wolf.
Thank you very much, Carol. Up ahead, Elizabeth Edwards, in her own words. She spoke recently, very candidly, with her own Zane Vergie about her battle with cancer. We're going to have some excerpts for you. That's coming up. Also, House Democrats calling for U.S. combat troops to be out of Iraq by next summer, but can they muster the votes they need? Stick around. You're in The Situation.
Anyone can see the obvious, but seeing the potential hidden beneath the surface takes a gift few possess. At Oppenheimer Funds, our investment experts have the talent to look beyond what is, to see the value of what can be, which is why so many investors trust us to help their retirement plans take shape. Oppenheimer Funds, the right way to invest.
Carefully consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Call your advisor for a prospectus with this and other fund information. Read it carefully before investing.
So we're going to need copies of the presentation, printed and bound, and we'll need it by 8 a.m.
Well, I guess it's going to be an all-nighter.
Actually, this morning I used print online from FedEx Kinko's. I uploaded our presentation. They're going to print, assemble, and deliver it, so it's waiting for us.
What? What did you say? What did she say?
Upload your presentation to FedEx Kinko's Print Online and we'll print it, assemble it, and deliver it. Go to nomoreallnighters.com.
82 years old. Bert walks 4 blocks a day to check on a 90-year-old down the street. But even a heart of gold can fail. Luckily, when it happened to Bert, a hospital was nearby. America's hospitals provide hope every day. But the administration's proposed cuts threaten vital services that protect us all. Tell Congress, stop cuts to hospital care.
If you're a man over 50, it's time to take the Avidart quiz. Are you always going? Do you have trouble going? Are you going at night? Maybe you think you have a going problem. But what if it's a growing problem? What if it's not your bladder, but instead you have an enlarging prostate? 50% of men over 50 do, and you may be able to do something about that going and growing with Avidart. Most medicines only treat symptoms. Avidart, with time, actually shrinks the prostate and improves urinary symptoms. Only your doctor can tell if your symptoms are from an enlarged prostate and not a more serious condition, such as prostate cancer. So have regular prostate exams. Avidart is for men only. Women should not take or handle Avidart due to the risk of a specific birth defect. Tell your doctor if you have liver disease. Rarely, sexual side effects, tenderness, or swelling of the breast can occur. Have you called your doctor? Avidart, for your growing problem.
Poor planning for reconstructing Iraq. That's the finding of a report by the Pentagon's Inspector General. It says inadequate foresight led to the current problem of providing services for the country, and it calls on Congress to come up with a better plan for a better coordination of future nation-building missions. We're going to have a lot more on this story coming up in the next hour. Also, the former Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres tells an inquiry he would not have launched last summer's war with Hezbollah in Lebanon. The conflict is seen as a failure by many Israelis. A government-appointed commission is looking into how the current Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert's government, handled the war. The report is due out next month, and it could determine Olmert's political future. And new developments in that massive recall of pet food linked to more than a dozen animal deaths. The class action lawsuit has now been filed against the manufacturer, Menu Foods Incorporated. Attorneys say more than 95 people have joined the lawsuit. Menu Foods has no comment on the lawsuit, but expresses sympathy for pet owners. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. John Edwards is standing by his wife and sticking to his presidential campaign. Let's get some more now on our top story. The heartbreaking announcement that Elizabeth Edwards' cancer is back. How might that affect the presidential race? Our senior political analyst, Bill Schneider, is joining us with more on this part of the story. Bill?
Wolf, the personal is political. We hear that all the time. But today, it seemed especially true.
Elizabeth Edwards has been called John Edwards' greatest campaign asset. That may have been true today with her display of courage and confidence.
We're going to always look for the silver lining. It is who we are as people, and we'll continue to do it.
Was she making a political statement? Of course, just by showing up.
I mean, one of the reasons to do a press conference as opposed to a press release is that you can see, I mean, I don't look sickly, I don't feel sickly.
Her husband was making a political statement too by not saying anything about his campaign until he was asked.
Suspend any activities, fundraising, travel?
No. A campaign is a series of tests. Edwards portrayed this as one more.
The maturity and the judgment that's required of the president, especially in these historic times, requires the president to be able to function and focus under very difficult circumstances.
This proves something about him, his wife said.
He has an unbelievable toughness, a reserve that allows him to push forward with what needs to happen.
Edwards hopes success in the early contests, Iowa, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Carolina, will propel him to victory. Success in those contests depends on personal campaigning, something Edwards was very good at in 2004.
People in New Hampshire, when they got to know John Edwards, really started to like him.
That could be even more true this time.
We will be in this every step of the way together.
Edwards has been criticized in the past as a rich populist who lives in a mansion. But it's going to be very hard for anyone to portray him as isolated from the real-life problems that ordinary people face. Wolf?
This is a family clearly that has endured a lot, the loss of their 16-year-old son, now her cancer. I thought that, and a lot of our viewers who were emailing me thought that the way they handled this announcement, as heartbreaking, as heart-wrenching as it was, that they did about as excellent a job in handling it as possible. Give me your sense a little bit of how they did in breaking this awful news to the American public.
Well, I thought they did a very effective job of explaining what had happened to them, of appearing to be strong and resolute. The fact that his wife was there was very important because, you know, he didn't talk about her, he let her talk for herself, and he made it clear that she was very much behind his decision to continue with his campaign. Otherwise, if he'd just gotten up and said, I'm continuing with my campaign, or put out a statement, he might have gotten a lot of criticism that he's doing it without regard for his wife's problems. But the fact that she was there made all the difference in the world.
I think it goes without saying, we certainly wish her only the best, Elizabeth Edwards, and we hope she comes through this speedily and well. Thank you, Bill. Zane Verjee interviewed Elizabeth Edwards during a much less worrisome moment. Zane is joining us now with a little bit on that conversation. You met with her a few months back, Zane, and you spoke about cancer.
Yeah, we did, Wolf. I met her when she thought that she was cancer-free. She talked about her health, how it would affect her husband's political career, and just how supportive he was.
He just said nothing can happen to you, and he wanted to take care of me. He wanted to make certain that we did whatever we could to fight this.
Does he want to be president?
I think he has important things that he thinks need to be accomplished for the country, and he wants to see them done. I think that he's capable of doing them.
Did you ever think of being First Lady? Does that idea sort of cross your mind? Do you entertain that?
Yeah, I honestly, I think that it's such a bubble of an existence. It's sort of hard to imagine what it would be like to be in that bubble. There are a lot of things that I advocate for now, and it would be great to get a huge megaphone to talk about those things.
Would your health condition be something that would influence a decision?
He has repeatedly said that he wants me to be healthy. You know, that would be part of the decision that he would make, that I would be healthy enough.
And Wolf, throughout the interview, she mentioned how strong and supportive her family and friends were when she was first diagnosed, and also just how lucky she was that she has that.
You interviewed her last September. You had a chance to spend some time with her, Zane, as well. What struck you most about this woman?
You know, I was struck essentially about how strong she was. I mean, here was a woman who lost her son, Wade, in an accident when he was only 16 years old. She had to do battle with cancer. She's facing it again. And really what came out, Wolf, was that she's a woman with a really positive attitude, and it comes off when you talk to her.
I've met her on several occasions. I can second that, Zane. Thank you very much. Let's go to our internet reporter, Abby Tatton. Abby, there are new words from Elizabeth Edwards. They're just coming in online. What is she saying?
Well, Wolf, this is a site that right now is slammed with traffic at johnedwards.com, where Elizabeth Edwards in the last couple of hours has gone on to thank supporters, calling them her dear extended family. Now, this is a website that is set up very much like a community where people could go online and weigh in, express their thoughts and prayers, and that's what's been happening today. The sentiment from these online supporters very much that we're with you, that they too are going to be keeping on with this campaign, Wolf.
Internet activists, as you know, they've been very central to the whole Edwards campaign. How is this playing out online?
Well, Elizabeth Edwards herself is in fact quite a celebrity with these liberal online activists. The reason, they say, that she gets it. She interacts with this community, with the netroots as they're called. She engages with them. Elizabeth Edwards has talked about how much time she spent online. She reads blogs, she says. She posts on them. You'll even see her occasionally showing up at conferences and discussions featuring bloggers. And today, this kind of interaction, no different. Elizabeth Edwards going online to blog her thanks to supporters. Wolf.
Abby, thanks. Abby Tatton, Zane Verjee, Bill Schneider, they are all part of the best political team on television. And remember, for the latest political news at any time, check out our political ticker at cnn.com/ticker. Coming up, can House Democrats scrape together the votes they need for a bill calling for U.S. troops to be out of Iraq by next summer? We'll take you live to Capitol Hill. Plus, the looming showdown between Congress and President Bush over testimony by top White House aides. We're going to talk about it in our strategy session. Donna Brazil, Rich Galen, they're standing by live. Stick around. You're in the Situation Room.
In this case,
are you a homeowner with a first mortgage, second mortgage, auto loans, student loans, or credit card debt? Or would you like to consolidate your debts into one low monthly payment? Log on or call 1-800-71-FIXED, a GMAC company.
Every day, Lexmark printers go to work for some of the world's most important companies. In fact, 75% of the top banks, retailers, and pharmacies use Lexmark. And now, that same performance can work for your home, too. Introducing Lexmark's new all-in-one. With professional features and a protection guarantee that includes next business day replacement, Lexmark is ready to go to work for you.
Douglas, from the conference.
James Anderson.
Oh, yeah, yesterday, yeah.
That's a lot of green.
What kind of bird is it? Okay, guys, I've done a course. What? Positive thinking. Positive thought makes a positive impact. Okay? Positive thought has a positive impact. Look at me. That's right, okay, come on.
Talk is no substitute for action.
That's the power.
Make it happen. The Royal Bank of Scotland Group.
I am good.
Yes, you are.
What I love about her?
What I love about him.
How much time do we have?
I love Thomas because he's just
I love everything about Sharon. Everything.
everything. I love him as he is.
Find everything you're looking for on eharmony.com. Log on today.
At UBS, financial solutions come from listening very carefully to what our clients say, but even more carefully to what they don't say. You could call it the commitment to understand. We just call it you and us. You and us, UBS.
Escape to a world of vibrant color, captivating design,
and luxurious style with Stainmaster Carpet. Experience a whole new era in style and beauty for your home. Stainmaster Carpet. Always stylish, always beautiful. For a retailer near you, visit stainmaster.com.
House Democrats are scrambling right now to come up with enough votes to pass their version of the Iraq emergency funding bill. It includes a provision to have U.S. combat troops out of Iraq by next summer. Let's turn to our congressional correspondent, Andrea Koppel. She's joining us with more from Capitol Hill. Andrea?
Wolf, and that debate has just within the last 15 minutes gotten underway on the House floor. House Democrats say they are determined to change course in Iraq. But as of late today, Democratic leaders are still trying to change minds. Top Democrat Rahm Emanuel telling CNN they are still 1 or 2 votes short of the 218 needed to pass the bill.
The biggest resistance isn't coming from the other side, from Republicans who are mostly united in opposition, but rather from a handful of undecided Democrats, including freshman Keith Ellison of Minnesota, Indiana's Brad Ellsworth, and Georgia's Hank Johnson. That said, the list has grown smaller. In the last day or so, anti-war Democrat James McGovern of Massachusetts, who'd been on the fence, agreed to vote yes.
I have come to the conclusion that defeating the supplemental bill before us today would send a message to George Bush and Dick Cheney that they will continue to have a free pass from this Congress to do whatever the hell they want to do.
And McGovern's not the only one. Maryland's Elijah Cummings, another anti-war Democrat in his 7th term who sits on the Armed Services Committee, says he's been getting mixed signals from his constituents. Cummings insists Democratic leaders didn't twist his arm and says he's now ready to vote yes.
And I've also come to the conclusion that I do not have the right to remain silent on this war. And a vote against the supplemental would cause us to have what I would call a stripped down bill, and there would be no voice saying, Mr. Bush, please stop this war immediately.
Now, debate on the House floor today is supposed to last 4 hours. It could carry over into the morning, Wolf, with a vote slated to happen Friday morning. And as you know, today the Senate Appropriations Committee also passed this legislation, this emergency war funding bill out, and it could land on the Senate floor next week. Wolf.
All right, we'll stay on top of this with you, Andrea Koppel on the Hill. Rudy Giuliani tops today's political radar. The Republican presidential candidate says Alberto Gonzales should get the benefit of the doubt in the fired federal prosecutor's controversy. Democrats and even some Republicans are calling for the Attorney General to resign. Before becoming mayor of New York, Giuliani himself was a federal prosecutor. He currently tops all national polls in the race for the Republican presidential nomination. There are also new developments today in that controversial web video that's the buzz of the political world. As we first reported yesterday here in the Situation Room, the man who put together the takeoff on that famous 1984 Apple ad worked for an internet consulting firm that does business with Senator Barack Obama's campaign. He's now been let go. The Obama campaign says they had no knowledge of the video, had nothing to do with its creation. We're going to have a full report on this story coming up here in the Situation Room in the next hour. Also coming up, we're watching John and Elizabeth Edwards. We'll have a lot more on that, but there's another story just coming into CNN right now. I want to go to Carol Costello for that. Carol?
Yeah, Wolf, it's a disturbing story. Broadcast reports out of Chicago says there have been multiple stabbings at Stroger Hospital. That's in Cook County. This is a gigantic facility, 1.2 million square feet. According to these broadcast reports, the attacker may have been detained by authorities. Supposedly, he got onto a shuttle bus and stabbed several people there, including a corrections officers. According to this report, 2 of the victims are in serious condition, 2 in fair condition. We don't know the status of the attacker just yet. When I get more information, of course, I'll pass it along. But again, multiple stabbings reported now at Stroger Hospital in Chicago. Back to you,
Very
Wolf.
worrisome. All right, when you get more, Carol, we'll share it with our viewers. As I said, up next, John and Elizabeth Edwards. They're vowing that a new health crisis won't derail their White House ambitions.
The campaign goes on. The campaign goes on strongly.
We're going to talk about that and more in our strategy session. Donna Brazil and Rich Galen, they're standing by. And in our next hour, The United Nations Secretary General experiences Baghdad's relentless violence firsthand. We're going to check in with our Michael Ware. He's in Baghdad. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
Giving the new Sierra more power doesn't make it professional grade. Giving it more power while making it more fuel efficient does. Introducing the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra. The only pickup that offers more than 300 horsepower and over 20 EPA estimated highway miles per gallon. That's professional grade.
On an all-new CNN Special Investigations Unit.
He needs to go to the OR or he's gonna die.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta and the residents of Grady's Anatomy. CNN Saturday and Sunday night.
At Town & Country Dodge, it's National Truck Month. We sell more Ram trucks than anyone in the Portland Metro. That's why Ram 1500 Hemis are only $23,988, and Ram Cummins diesels are $31,988. Or choose 0% APR for up to 72 months. Plus, there's no charge for Hemi engines. Put us first on your list because your truck solution rests with the experts at TNC. Truck Month is happening now at Town & Country Dodge in Wilsonville. Drive home happy.
Through the years, many things pass from father to son, like Aqua Velva Aftershave. Smells great, cools, firms, and tones. Cool. Aqua Velva, men get it. Make a smooth approach. Make smooth contact with Electric Shave Pre-Shave Lotion. Stands up whiskers for up to a 52% closer shave. Electric Shave. Blade close, electric smooth.
Arthritis pain's debilitating, and it really hurt when I couldn't play Rocky's favorite game. Then my doctor recommended Capsaicin.
Capsaicin works differently, blocking pain for fast-lasting relief. Capsaicin cream and new no-mess applicator.
Takes the pain out of arthritis.
Does back pain limit your motion?
Get relief with Icy Hot Pro Therapy, powered by Hot Packs. Up to 8 hours of muscle-relaxing, pain-relieving heat that goes where you go. Icy Hot Pro Therapy.
Strong support plus powerful relief.
Weimar presents Oregon basketball with Ernie Kent. Join Joe Johnsoni and head coach Ernie Kent each week as they break down the team's performance and prepare for the weeks ahead. Duck basketball, up front and straight from the source. Sunday nights at 5 and Tuesday nights at 9, only on CNW 14, Portland's home of the Oregon Ducks. This Oregon sports program is brought to you by Lithia, Oregon Dodge dealers, and Weimar.
Which cancer is back? Breast cancer survivor Cheryl Crow reacts. Larry King tonight.
The nation's attention focused on presidential candidate John Edwards and his wife Elizabeth after a dramatic and very sad announcement today. They told reporters, indeed they told the nation, her cancer has returned. His campaign, though, will continue. Joining us now in our strategy session, Democratic strategist Donna Brazil and Republican strategist Rich Galen. How do you think, this is about as sad and as emotional as it gets, how do you think they did?
Well, I thought they did very well under the circumstances. Elizabeth Edwards has been a pillar of strength. She is a role model for women who are breast cancer survivors. Her struggle is one that she's told people all over the country. She's been an asset to Senator Edwards' campaign, and clearly our hearts right now and prayers are with her to recover and to continue this battle. But I think overall, because she was there, they didn't just issue a statement. It came across authentic that, you know, he expressed concern for his wife. At the same time, he said that the campaign would move on.
Let me play, Rich, this little clip of what Senator Edwards said, among other things. Listen to this.
Any time, any place that I need to be with Elizabeth, I will be there, period. It doesn't matter what's happening in the campaign. If she needs me, if she's not with me, which she will be most of the time, I'll be there.
And he was getting phone calls not only from Democrats, but a lot of Republicans. His former colleagues in the Senate were reaching out to him and to Elizabeth, his wife. What do you think?
Well, you know, that's one of the things that too many people don't understand about politics. They see kind of the high points of the bitter battles. But the fact is, politics is a pretty good place to be if you're in trouble and if you need help. We all do this stuff, and we're not afraid to reach out to each other. I think one of the things that Senator Edwards demonstrated today is this is what happens to real people. They have to go on. You can't say, I'm not going to work anymore because my wife is sick or my husband is sick. You have to do what you're going to do, and and you kind of balance those things. I thought it was a very powerful moment.
And did he make the right decision by announcing he wasn't going to drop out, wasn't going to suspend his campaign? They stood there together and they said, we want this campaign to go on.
I think under the circumstances, it's the right decision at this moment, but who knows what will happen a month from now as she begins her new treatment and to see if things will work out. Senator Edwards is a very courageous man as well, and I'm sure that he would stop the campaign if he thought that this was going to in any way affect Elizabeth's health.
They've been married for almost 30 years and together even longer than that. Let's talk a little bit about the other political subject that's consuming a lot of Washington right now, this eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation between the White House and the Democrats in the House and the Senate. I want you to listen to Senator Pat Leahy, the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He was very forceful on this whole issue of testimony and subpoenas. Listen to this.
I have had enough of these closed-door meetings. We've had them up here where they come up and tell you one thing one day. 2 days later in the press we find, whoops, that wasn't what the real story was, and then they call up and say, oh yes, I guess we left some key things out, or we were misleading. Could we have another one of those private meetings? I'm tired of that.
Is there still room, and Rich, you've been around Washington for a long time, for a compromise that will avoid any court battles and subpoenas, that these two sides will be able to get together and get what they both want?
Sure, and that is the highest likelihood of what will happen. The lowest likelihood of what's on the other side of the bell curve is that this thing, that there'll be a subpoena, that it'll be ignored, there'll be a contempt citation voted by one house or the other, they'll go to court, and that's not likely to happen. But let me just say, I talked to a really smart guy in town, a guy named Alan Barron, who you may know from Holland Tonight today, about all this, and he reminded me that this started way back in the beginning. George Washington refused, in essence, a subpoena from the very first Congress. The House wanted some documents, and he wouldn't give them up.
In the Clinton White House, they didn't want to give up documents. They didn't want to let their officials, including Bruce Lindsay, a deputy White House counsel, testify, but they lost all those battles in the earlier eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation.
And if you look at a Congressional Research Service document, they testified over 30 times. They came up to Capitol Hill. They had to testify in the public. And if the administration has nothing to hide, if this is just a personnel matter, which they said initially, they should come and tell the truth.
I think the president, well, that may be, but I think again, another old example is Thomas Jefferson was ordered by Chief Justice Marshall to turn over some documents. He refused, but then voluntarily said he would do it because he wanted to preserve what now we call executive privilege. So he did comply, but he first refused and then said, I'm doing this voluntarily. So these things have a way of working themselves out. But you know what? By the time we get down to next November, nobody's going to remember.
But Democrats believe they were misled, and one of the reasons why the Democrats will not allow the White House to stonewall is they believe that the White House continues to shift its story.
And the Democratic base would be pretty outraged if Senator Leahy or any of the other Democrats decided to blink on this one.
And the Republican base will be just as outraged if the president blinks back.
But at some point, we all need to serve the American people, and I think they want to know the truth.
Is Alberto Gonzales safe, at least for now? What do you think?
Apparently, he appears to be. The thing that I don't understand is why the White House hasn't unleashed the RNC, and they don't have every Republican Hispanic leader in the country out there speaking on his behalf. You don't hear Republican Hispanic members of the House speaking out on his behalf. I think they've missed a beat here. This is an example of a White House.
But Donna, you know, there are some conservatives who never liked Alberto Gonzales to begin with.
Well, that's true, but look, this is an issue of competence, and I think on this score, the administration would be better served if they just gave the Democrats and the Republicans what they're asking for.
No, what'll happen is the Democrats will go out, if they get Al Gonzales, then they'll go after the VA, then they'll just go after one at a time.
Well,
they'll
they're
go
finally
after
doing their job, and that's something we pay them to do.
They're not there to be just being ugly all the time. They've got to pass something. And they're still 2 votes short.
Well, Wolf, I want to say happy birthday. I won't sing because I refuse to be on YouTube, but as you know, you cover all America, and this is all the 50 states.
Thank you.
Happy birthday on behalf of all your pundits.
Thank you. You guys are the best. Thank you
you,
very
sir.
much.
Happy birthday.
And coming up in our next hour, he's a critical U.S. ally in the war on terror, but can Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf survive politically? We're going to show you why some say he's losing his grip on power. And straight ahead, Jack Cafferty wants to know this. What's your reaction to a Michigan congressman saying parts of Iraq are no more dangerous than Detroit or Chicago? Jack standing by with the Cafferty file, and you're in the Situation Room.
Is your nest egg in shape for retirement? Objective financial advice from A.G. Edwards can help. A.G. Edwards, for more than 118 years, fully invested in our clients.
The greatest shoes in more styles at Macy's.
You come here with your laptop computer, you're here to make a difference. People here kill each other as a way of life. It's always been like that. This is Africa.
Blood Diamond. Own it now on DVD.
10 years ago, I was in New York performing and I collapsed on stage.
Patti LaBelle has diabetes.
I had no idea. My blood glucose level was 500. Food was the enemy back then.
One Touch Ultra 2 with before and after meal averages can help you see how food affects your blood sugar. Learn how by calling 1-877-311-2311 and you'll receive this free educational DVD.
I can enjoy food again.
One Touch changes everything.
Here's a radically simple suggestion from eLoan. You can lower your rising monthly payments by consolidating your debt with a home equity loan and paying one lower monthly rate. Just call 1-800-TRY-ELOAN or go to eLoan.com. eLoan, radically simple.
This is the car, made by Daimler Chrysler, that was built in the factory where they partnered with Dell, who focused on making them even more efficient with managed services and infrastructure solutions, customized to work in a smarter way. Because Dell designed solutions with one company in mind. Yours, Dell.
Tonight on 360, the nation was transfixed by the hunt for the man who fatally shot a judge in a crowded courtroom. That was 2 years ago. Incredibly, the trial has been delayed again. Why? We're keeping them honest. 360 tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Closed captioning provided by Activon. Applied directly where it hurts.
Activon Ultra Strength Joint and Muscle. Apply directly where it hurts. Activon. Safe and effective pain relief. Activon Ultra Strength Joint and Muscle. In stores now.
Check in with Jack Cafferty once again for the Cafferty File. Jack?
Well, if the question this hour is what's your reaction to a Michigan congressman who said in a radio interview parts of Iraq are no more dangerous than Detroit or Chicago. Charles, in Lansing, Michigan, it means our troops ought to be back here patrolling Detroit and Chicago and Miami and New Orleans and Los Angeles, etc. That's a perfect reason to get them out of Iraq. Paul writes, anyone with a wit of knowledge knows that northern Iraq is in great shape, peaceful and rapidly rebuilding, since this area is far safer than a lot of Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, or Birmingham. Lois in Scottsdale, Arizona, when he's discharged from rehab, you know, where all the public misspeakers must go to repent and give the public some time to forget how stupid they are, he should go and live in Iraq for a year, but be banned from the green zone. I feel sorry for the district and the people he represents. Thomas in Florida, well, Jack, I don't think the congressman was saying that there were IEDs in Michigan and Illinois. What he said was 85% of Iraq is basically trouble-free, by and large, according to urban center standards. Heaven forbid it be true, Jack. Why, it might mean the sky is not really falling, like so many people claim it is. Tom in Maine writes, I'd ask the congressman to go to Iraq and try to buy life, homeowners, auto, or personal injury insurance and see if he still feels the same way. And Bruce in Massachusetts checks in with this. That's like saying some parts of hell are not as hot as other parts. Wolf?
Jack, thanks. And to our viewers, you're in the Situation Room happening now. Shell-shocked in Baghdad, the U.S. Secretary General gets a close call. Where are the insurgents getting all their weapons? Did the U.S. leave the arsenals unlocked? And a CNN exclusive, a former intelligence operative takes you inside the most secretive and perhaps most dangerous nation in the world. But is the U.S. taking the wrong approach to North Korea? And John and Elizabeth Edwards face a very serious new crisis, but they vow to press on with his presidential campaign and her battle against breast cancer. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. A shattering blast in the heavily defended heart of Baghdad stuns the visiting United Nations chief. It comes as critics are raising new questions about the Pentagon's lack of planning for the war in Iraq. Did that put a vast arsenal in the hands of insurgents? CNN's Michael Ware is in Baghdad, but let's begin with our senior Pentagon correspondent, Jamie McIntyre. Jamie?
Wolf, kind of a mixed message today. Some blistering criticism about the mistakes of the past, along with a couple of developments that could hold out some hope for the future.
In Baghdad, a jarring reminder that Iraq remains awash in weapons after 4 years of war. An insurgent rocket caused no injuries, but prompted the new UN Secretary General to duck for cover during a press conference in the supposedly secure Green Zone. It's the latest example of Iraqi insurgents' seemingly limitless supply of arms, which a new GAO report blames on poor pre-war planning, in particular, the failure of the U.S. to secure Iraq's vast weapons stores back in 2003.
These munitions, looted from unsecured conventional munition storage sites, have been the source of explosives for the majority of IED attacks.
The Government Accountability Office says it doesn't know how much weaponry is in the hands of insurgents, but says the U.S. has destroyed only 417,000 tons out of an estimated 3.25 million, leaving more than 2.8 million tons unaccounted for. The Pentagon says it's doing the best it can.
The entire country was one big ammo dump, and there were thousands of these sites, and so we're doing our best to try and find them.
A separate audit by the Special Inspector General for Iraq Reconstruction also faulted lack of planning for poor management of the $400 billion spent so far in Iraq. But Stuart Bowen also told Congress that after his latest inspection, he's seeing real progress for the first time in almost 2 years.
That cautious optimism is a good sign, and something that I had not returned from Iraq with, I guess, over the last 20 months.
The U.S. military also reported progress on another front, the arrest of 2 brothers who are suspected in connection with that brazen attack in January in which 5 American soldiers were killed when insurgents posed as Americans to breach Iraqi security. The Karzai brothers are accused of being part of a network that's smuggling Iranian IEDs into Iraq, and also are said to be connected to Muqtada al-Sadr, the anti-American cleric. Wolf?
Jamie, thanks for that. And as you saw, it was a truly terrifying moment today for the United Nations Secretary General, but an everyday fact of life for residents of Baghdad. So what does that say about success or failure for the mission in Iraq? Joining us now in Baghdad, our correspondent Michael Ware. Michael, there was a huge scare earlier today. I want to play this little clip of what happened when the United Nations Secretary General was in Baghdad with Nouri al-Maliki, the Prime Minister. Let's watch it. Well, you see Ban Ki-moon, the UN Secretary General, he is clearly startled, as he should be. In contrast, Nouri al-Maliki, he's pretty cool, calm, and collected. Give our viewers a sense of what this videotape and this sound says to you, someone who's been there for 4 years.
Well, it's obviously, of course, Wolf, that the UN Secretary General is new to Baghdad, because this is an extraordinarily common occurrence throughout this capital. I mean, this happens in people's neighborhoods. Mortars lob without warning, rhyme, or reason, let alone the international zone, which is the heart of the US Embassy and the seat of the Iraqi government, which is headed by Nouri al-Maliki. We've seen on several occasions when insurgents have taken opportunities such as this during press conferences just to throw the odd mortar or rocket into the international zone or the green zone, just to let people know where they are. Look at the play they're getting from just a couple of simple mortars. I mean, the reverberations from that one moment are spinning not just across the country, but across the world. And it's extraordinary to see Nouri al-Maliki almost holding his political fate there in his hands as he refuses to flinch, while the newcomer Secretary General is obviously in quite some distress, Wolf.
What struck me was that 4 years into this war, and certainly several weeks into the major security crackdown in Baghdad, the insurgents can still lob a mortar into this highly secure so-called green zone, especially timed with the visit of the United Nations Secretary General. What does that say?
Well, it says what it's always said. It said it's been this way since the beginning. You cannot protect the green zone from what in military terms is called indirect fire. Mortars, rockets, and maybe the occasional missile if they're lucky. They can lob them in from all sorts of directions. Indeed, they can do it from as close as Haifa Street, just a few hundred yards away from the green zone, well within striking distance of the US Embassy. They can do it from across the river in Dora. They can do it from Sada City. And this isn't just one enemy, Wolf. This is Sunni insurgents. This is Al-Qaeda. This is Shia militias. They all lob mortars into the fortified green zone. This is Iraq. You can't protect it. It's the way business is done.
Michael Ware, be careful over there. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you, Wolf.
Insurgent mortars rain death on an almost daily basis. At least 110 Americans have died from mortar or rocket fire since the start of the war. A 60-millimeter mortar has a range of up to 2 miles with a blast equal to a pound or two of TNT, not enough to penetrate most rooftops. An 81 millimeter mortar has a range of more than 3 miles with a direct hit likely to contain at least 2 pounds of TNT. A 120-millimeter mortar is a much heavier weapon with a range of more than 4 miles. A direct hit is equal to 10 pounds of TNT and can devastate urban targets. A nuclear-armed U.S. ally is rocked by unrest, but can its leader hold on to power? Let's turn to CNN's Brian Todd. He's got more on this very important story we're monitoring right now. Brian?
Wolf, Pervez Musharraf has already survived 2 assassination attempts in Pakistan, but now some believe his own efforts to consolidate his power could cause him to lose it. Are these protesting lawyers the beginning of the end for Pervez Musharraf, Pakistan's lightning rod president who rules a volatile country armed with nuclear weapons? A top Pakistani journalist says this demonstration over an ousted Supreme Court justice is just one sign that Musharraf's losing his grip on power in this crucial election year.
Musharraf has become a lame duck in the sense that he cannot now fulfill his own agenda to remain president for the next 5 years.
Ahmed Rashid and another Musharraf critic say there's one key reason he's losing his hold.
He's made these kinds of alliances, which I think in the end are going to be very counterproductive for him.
Alliances, they say, with partners that no longer trust him, including one of Pakistan's most influential political parties. Tribal elders near his border with Afghanistan, many of them Taliban sympathizers, with his intelligence services, and the United States. Top Pakistani officials deny it, telling CNN Musharraf's on solid ground with all these groups. But on the relationship with Washington, sources with knowledge of Musharraf's recent meeting with Vice President Cheney tell us Cheney made it clear Musharraf needs to crack down harder on Taliban operating inside Pakistan. Still, with so much uncertainty over who might replace him, experts say it's too dangerous for anyone to walk away from Pervez Musharraf.
The idea of major violence, street demonstrations erupting in a very fragile country with nuclear weapons, I think from an international standpoint, including from an American standpoint, it means it's very important to walk cautiously here.
And even Musharraf's harshest critics admit Pakistan's political parties are now in disarray after 8 years of his rule. And when they were in power, they were corrupt and ineffective. Wolf?
Brian, thanks. A very important story we're watching. The terror attacks of 9/11 instantaneously made President Musharraf a vital ally, and the United States started pouring aid into Pakistan. Take a look at this. Over the past 5 years, the U.S. has increased military assistance to Pakistan by 300%. Last year, the total was $300 billion. That alone could buy 15 fighter jets like the F-16. Let's go to Jack Cafferty in New York with the Cafferty File. Jack?
Wolf, John Edwards' wife Elizabeth was first diagnosed with breast cancer in 2004. Today, sadly, the couple announced the cancer has recurred. Her doctor categorized it as metastatic stage 4 cancer. That's not good. It's largely confined to the bones. The doctor said it's not curable, but it's treatable. Despite his wife's diagnosis, Edwards said they're optimistic and talked about why he's staying in the race for the White House.
You can go cower in the corner and hide, or you can
be tough and go out there and stand up for what you believe in. And both of us are committed to the cause. We're committed to changing this country that we love so much, and we have no intention of cowering in the corner.
Edwards had said before that he would not have run for the office if his wife did not have a clean bill of health. So here's the question. Do you think John Edwards should stay in the presidential race? Email us, CaffertyFile, CNN.com, or go to CNN.com/CaffertyFile. That's tough stuff, Wolf.
Very tough stuff. Our heart goes out to that family and wish them only the best. Thank you, Jack, very much. Up ahead, we're going to show you the anti-American cartoons Iranians are seeing in their newspapers and on television, and why it's absolutely no laughing matter. Also, is the U.S. taking the wrong approach with North Korea? Our Zain Verji talks to a former intelligence operative and takes us inside the most secretive country in the world. Plus, the man behind those anti-Clinton, pro-Obama video that's causing such a hit on the web. He's now speaking publicly, so why did he do it? Stay with us here in The Situation Room.
Chemistry. It's the force that makes relationships exciting and passionate.
The chemistry was absolutely phenomenal.
With eHarmony, we got compatibility and we have chemistry.
Experienced chemistry based on true compatibility. eHarmony.com.
Newspapers across America are speaking out against changes to Medicare. The Indianapolis Star warns fixing drug prices is bad for future generations. The Charleston Daily Mail says drug coverage works for seniors. The Atlanta Journal says keep drug price negotiations out of Fed's hands. 90% of seniors now have comprehensive prescription drug coverage thanks to Medicare. Competition is creating real savings for seniors. Changing Medicare would be a mistake. Let's give it a chance to keep working.
Need cash? Borrow up to 125% of your home's value with a fixed-rate Freedom Loan from Ditech. With Ditech, you can feel confident that you're being taken care of every step of the way. Call Ditech now, 1-800-71-FIXED.
It's half off at Joseph A. Bank. Signature suits, half off. Business Express suit separates and tuxedo separates, half off. Even executive suits, half off. Plus, sport coats, blazers, and dress pants, half off. Plus, there's more. The entire stock of sweaters, half off. And a huge selection of dress shirts, you guessed it, half off. Only at Joseph A. Bank. Now through Sunday. Let me show you how it works.
Here's how it works. Get the nation's slimmest smartphone at our lowest price ever, $79.99. The Silver Cube, with easy access to email and Windows Mobile. It's the stylish way to work. The Silver Cube from Verizon Wireless, America's most reliable wireless broadband network. Verizon Wireless, it's the network.
I had a patient who called. He had picked up a prescription at the store, and when he got home, he read the directions, which read, take 1/2 tablet daily. He called us and told us that he had Parkinson's, and because of the tremors, he had a hard time cutting the pills. So I offered to come at the end of the day and cut the tablets for him. He had tears in his eyes. He was like, thank you so much for doing this. I'm Lorelei Lactera, and I'm a CVS pharmacist.
There are new developments in a story we've been following. We brought you details yesterday. Poor, even deplorable conditions at some U.S. military care facilities. Disturbing results are in from a nationwide Veterans Administration review. CNN's Ed Lavandera is on the story. Ed?
Wolf, VA officials insist that the majority of the problems this report discovered are just part of everyday normal wear and tear. But not everyone agrees, and some Democratic lawmakers say it's a sign of a bigger problem. Reports of unacceptable conditions at Walter Reed triggered this nationwide review of 1,400 Veterans Administration facilities. The report lists more than 1,000 instances of poor conditions and what's being done about them. Most of the citations, like at this facility in St. Cloud, Minnesota, are about deterioration and upkeep, old carpet, peeling paint, worn floor tiles, or leaks. But a few of them are more severe: mold, bugs, sightings of mice, and in one case, even bats. The bat infestation was reported at this facility in southern Oregon. The bats are not just in the attics, they sometimes get inside the hallways. The report says eradicating them may be too difficult. Plus, the bats eat mosquitoes. The VA says the overwhelming majority of the citations are standard wear and tear, which are fixed on an ongoing basis, and that there's a plan to immediately fix the more serious problems. Reaction from Capitol Hill Democrats, who now control the purse strings, was swift.
It was heartbreaking for me to read the VA self-report, which uncovered conditions, as we've read, of leaky roofs, deteriorating walls, moldy rooms, and even bat infestation.
But one veteran hopes to broaden the issue from the buildings to the overall care.
This is not a story that's simply about, mice and mold and doing a paint job. You've got to go deeper and really deal with the quality of the programs or the lack of these programs to treat this new generation of veterans that's coming back.
The report also says that the majority of the problems that were found at the VA facilities occurred in areas where patients are not treated. And VA officials tell CNN Today that the VA healthcare system is still widely cited as the best in the country. Wolf, back to you.
Ed Lavandera reporting from Dallas. Iran often shows off its latest weapons. Has it now found a less deadly way to strike at the United States, or will the end result be just as dangerous? CNN's Anish Rahman is in Tehran. Anish?
Wolf, for the government of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, it is a new campaign against an old enemy. It's often with anger that Iran's leaders speak about the U.S. But on state-run TV, the state has been trying a different tactic. Mixed into the main news channel are political cartoons, often starting with a slate like this one, which reads, "No explanation needed." This one pokes fun at U.S. policy in Iraq. Uncle Sam running between bombs, looking for an exit, and when he finds 3 doors, no such luck. President Bush also often gets a grilling. Here he's talking to the world about Iran's nuclear program, alleging Iran wants nuclear weapons, all while his nose grows longer like Pinocchio in front of a laughing globe. The cartoons, and there are many, have even made their way onto YouTube, varying from anti-American riffs to others about Israel that outside of Iran would be defined as anti-Semitic. As for those on the U.S., the intent is clear, at least to moderates like this professor at the University of Tehran.
There are less anti-Americans amongst average Iranian than say 5 years ago, or certainly a decade ago. So maybe the government has realized that anti-American feeling is on the decline, and they have started to make these cartoons to sort of sustain anti-American feeling.
But one cartoon that would have most Iranians agreeing is this one. It shows the U.S., Europe, and the UN combing the ground for evidence of an Iranian weapons program. In the end, they've missed the arsenal that Israel allegedly has. The cartoons appeal to many here, which is why some moderates are concerned they'll leave the average Iranian confused between American policy and the American people. Wolf?
Anish in Tehran reporting for us. Thank you. Coming up, an exclusive look inside North Korea. A former intelligence operative says what you've seen and heard may not necessarily be the full picture. Plus, there's a new development in that pet food recall. Dozens of owners are now taking action. Stay with us. You're in The Situation.
I'm Alice Kladnick, and I am 100 years old. Indeed, I did fall for a younger man. He kept asking me to play tennis with him, so I thought, well, this is one way to get rid of him. I didn't tell him I was state champion. Best decision I ever made was to marry him, to succumb.
If you're lucky, you don't outlive love. And if you plan properly, you won't outlive your money either. Retirement Income Solutions from Genworth Financial can give you retirement income you can't outlive. Genworth Financial. Insurance for living, solutions for life. San Diego, 365 days of awe. Plan your summer getaway today at sandiego.org.
Yeah, with Vonage I've had
100% reliability. It's been there when I needed it.
I've never had a clearer phone.
The clearness of the line is phenomenal.
The voice quality with Vonage, it's been stellar, actually.
The call quality is great. Nobody asks, hey, are you on VoIP? You know, nobody knows.
It's just $24.99 a month for unlimited local and long distance. Call now and get 1 month free, including free calls to the U.S., Canada, Puerto Rico, and Europe.
Call 1-888-402-4VON. Will DNA taken from Anna Nicole Smith's baby girl finally reveal the father's identity? Nancy Grace has the latest from the Bahamas. Headline News Prime. Tonight, 8 and 10 Eastern.
You love fine things. Luxurious, extraordinary, heirloom quality are words that excite you. Then step into Madison Millinger, the world's finest handmade rugs. There's nothing like it in Portland. Hand-woven treasures made from exquisite hand-spun wool and natural vegetable dyes. Created by skilled hands for a depth of artistry rarely seen in the Northwest. Their lustrous patina will make your home come alive. Madison Millinger, Portland's world-class rug gallery at 11th and Gleason in the Pearl.
Inhalant abuse can kill, even the first time. Talk to your kids.
Comcast recognizes the importance of communication to unite the community and bring families closer together. Comcast cares about a drug-free America.
Elizabeth Edwards' cancer is back. Breast cancer survivor Cheryl Crow reacts. Larry King tonight.
Check back with Carol for a closer look at some other important stories making news. Carol?
Hi, Wolf. That Boy Scout who was rescued after being lost in the North Carolina mountains is out of the hospital. 12-year-old Michael Aubrey is free to go home in North Carolina. That happened just a few hours ago. He is in good condition, still recovering from severe dehydration and exposure to the cold, though. Aubrey wandered away from his campsite on Saturday. He was found on Tuesday after an intensive search. Court action today involving former astronaut Lisa Nowak, who's accused of trying to kidnap a romantic rival. Nowak's attorneys formally entered a not guilty plea on her behalf. Nowak is charged with attempted kidnapping, battery, and burglary of a vehicle with a weapon. Her trial set to begin in July. She's free on bail, and she did not appear at today's arraignment in Orlando. In news affecting small businesses, the economic impact of the bird flu. A report from a nonpartisan nonprofit group says a severe pandemic would almost certainly lead to a major recession in the United States. The Trust for America's Health says the gross domestic product could drop more than 5.5%, resulting in a loss of $683 billion. And it says the U.S. is not prepared to face an economic shock of that magnitude. Another story affecting small businesses. New census figures are out showing which U.S. counties have lost the most people. Of the 5 counties that suffered the greatest population loss from 2005 to 2006, 4 were hit by Hurricane Katrina. Wayne County, Michigan rounded out the top 5. That county includes Detroit. And, you know, Detroit has been hit by layoffs in the automotive industry. Back to you, Wolf.
All right, Carol, see you shortly. Coming up here in the Situation Room, a cancer setback for the wife of a leading Democratic presidential candidate. John and Elizabeth Edwards speaking candidly about her condition and their future plans. Plus, my interview with former Senate Majority Leader Bill Frist. He's just back from Darfur, where he witnessed atrocities and used his own medical training to help save lives. He's standing by to give us an eyewitness account. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
The Bottom Line is sponsored by the UPS Store, the place for mailbox services, and a whole lot more. Go to cnn.com/Situation Room for more small business news.
You have a small business, and tomorrow you have a big meeting. You've written a great presentation, but now you need someone to put it together perfectly.
Don't you worry about a thing.
You need the UPS Store. Professionals who can print, copy, collate, bind, and more. So while you worry about what tie looks good, let the UPS Store worry about making your business look good. That's our thing.
Don't you worry about a thing.
The UPS Store, the place for document services and a whole lot more.
The world, the markets, the flow of ideas, the flow of money, experience, the flow of goods, reputation, capital, knowledge of the marketplace, research, the political reality, the economic reality, practical reality, relationships, brain power, the wisdom, the world. Morgan Stanley. Worldwise.
Life and the companies that move it forward, listed on NASDAQ. NASDAQ, trade up.
Running a successful business isn't easy. There are hidden expenses and unseen obstacles. If you're unprepared, one move can put everything at risk. Incorporating your business with Biz Filings can reduce the personal risk of owning a business. At Biz Filings, we make it easy, fast, and affordable. That's why more than 150,000 business owners have turned to Biz Filings for help. We form corporations and LLCs in all 50 states. Call or visit Biz Filings today for a free guide to incorporation. BizFilings.com. Protect your assets. Free yourself.
To our viewers, you're in the Situation Room happening now. Congress one step closer to an all-out showdown with President Bush. The Senate Judiciary Committee, following the lead of the House, has authorized subpoenas of top White House aides to testify about the firing of 8 federal prosecutors. The White House fighting the move, instead offering to have Karl Rove, Harriet Miers, other officials interviewed, but with no oath and no transcript. Also, the United Nations Children's Agency desperately seeking money for a critical aid program, delivering fresh drinking water to 70,000 people in Baghdad each day. It ran out of money March 1st, officials now warning. The situation there is dire. And a class action lawsuit now filed against the maker of that recalled pet food that's linked to more than a dozen animal deaths. Attorneys say more than 95 people have joined the case against Menu Foods Incorporated. No comment so far from the company. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. Democratic presidential candidate John Edwards says his campaign will go on despite his wife's new health crisis. Elizabeth Edwards confirms her cancer is back and has spread. Let's go to CNN's Mary Snow. She's watching all of this unfold from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Mary?
Well, Wolf, the Edwards went public just one day after medical tests confirmed their fears. Elizabeth Edwards' doctor has diagnosed her with stage 4 breast cancer, but Elizabeth Edwards says she is incredibly optimistic.
John and Elizabeth Edwards decided they wanted everyone to hear it from them. The cancer that Elizabeth Edwards battled came back.
It's no longer curable. It is completely treatable.
Unlike in 2004 when Elizabeth Edwards was diagnosed with breast cancer, this time the malignancy was found in her bone. The Edwards say they are optimistic and will press on with a presidential campaign. And Elizabeth says she's ready.
One of the reasons to do a press conference as opposed to a press release is that you can see, I mean, I don't look sickly, I don't feel sickly. You know, I'm as ready as any person can be for that.
It is a battle they faced before, when Elizabeth Edwards was diagnosed with breast cancer in the final days of her husband and Senator John Kerry's 2004 presidential campaign. Since then, Edwards has said his wife's health was a factor in his decision whether or not to run for president. But he says the doctors told them the campaign won't affect cancer treatments. Edwards added,
Let me be absolutely clear. Any time, any place that I need to be with Elizabeth, I will be there, period.
The couple held a press conference near the site where they were married 30 years ago this summer. And as they left to continue with the campaign, Elizabeth's doctor gave a more detailed diagnosis.
Her cancer looks like it's primarily in the bone. There may be some other sites, but they're very small and not as clear.
And the exact treatment hasn't yet been decided.
And the Edwards are wasting no time hitting the campaign trail. John Edwards expected tonight in New York for a fundraiser. The couple is expected to be together tomorrow in California. Wolf?
Mary, what did they say about how they decided to keep the presidential campaign going?
They said that they talked about it yesterday, and when asked did they think about suspending the campaign, there had been so much speculation, they said no, that they did not think about that, and they feel committed to this, and Elizabeth Edwards particularly said that she felt it was important for John Edwards to go forward.
Mary's watching this story for us in Chapel Hill. Elizabeth Edwards' doctor also spoke at that news conference, giving more details of her condition.
Since this is, is not considered curable but isn't considered treatable, as you can imagine, the therapies that we give have to do two things. One is they have to control the cancer, and the other is they have to not make the patient sick. Stage 4 breast cancer is a very heterogeneous thing, so there's some people, none of the treatments that we use work, and so their survival is short. Other people, it can live with it for many years. And exactly, since it's so, if you think about it, it's like taking, all of you and saying, what's the average age? I can give you a number, but it's not meaningful for any one of you. And unfortunately, we don't know until we give therapy exactly how hers will go.
The National Institutes of Health defines stage 4 cancer as a tumor of any size that's spread beyond the region of the breast and chest wall. The National Institutes of Health puts the 5-year survival rate for stage 4 breast cancer at 7%. Other sources put it as high as 21%. We'll stay on top of this story for you. We're joined now by another physician. He's also the former Senate Majority Leader. Bill Frist is just back from Sudan's Darfur region, where he saw firsthand what the U.S. government is calling a genocide. Dr. Frist is joining us from Nashville, Tennessee. Thanks, Senator, for coming in.
Thank you, Wolf. Good to be with you.
I want your eyewitness account of what you saw in Darfur, because we've been hearing a lot about it over these years, but you were there, you saw it up close and personal.
Wolf, I did, and I spent most of the last month in Africa on the ground, not as a political figure, not as a senator, but as what I am, and that is a physician. And most of my focus, unlike when other people go in, is on the humanitarian effort. And the thing that I saw, the thing that I came back with was disturbing in many ways. Some progress has been made. The facts everybody knows, there are about 300,000 people who have been slaughtered in the last 3 years. It is genocide. We're calling it genocide, but right now the government of Sudan is not stepping up action to end that genocide. 2 million people displaced. On the humanitarian front, the real challenge that I found is that there is a brink of crisis going on. Right now, the situation for the humanitarian workers from the United States and from around the world is becoming untenable. 2 quick examples. In the last 6 months, there have been 30 attacks by others on United Nations compound where these humanitarian workers are.
Well, let me press you on this point, Senator. What else should the world be doing right now? We hear a lot about it. We all say never again, but it seems that there's a lot more that could be done to save these people that's not being done.
Well, I think that's right. And I think the humanitarian workers, that crisis has to be addressed, because otherwise people will starve. People will continue to die just from the starvation, the malnutrition, and the health. Now, from the political standpoint, there's a lot that can be done. Back in Rwanda in 1994, the United States did not act. We were too late. The United Nations did not act, and we were too late, and we stood by and watched 1 million people die. Already 1/3 people almost have died in Darfur. So what can we do? Right now, Andrew Natsios, our envoy to Sudan, is considering, and I strongly encourage him to increase sanctions on Sudan today to get President Bashir to stand up and end the genocide with his troops, with his military, with his government. Secondly, we need to act in concert with China. China right now buys about 65% of all the oil coming out of Sudan.
And they're continuing to do so. What about militarily? Is there a military option there that not the United States necessarily, but African nations, European nations, others can do to stop this slaughter?
Well, it's hard to imagine now. Right now, the Darfur region in western Sudan is a huge region, about the size of France. And it's desert. It goes on forever. So it's hard to imagine sending in military troops. The United Nations has said they'll send in 22,000 African peacekeepers, and that should be done. But the government of Sudan, through Bashir, says, no, we're not going to let them in. We've got to have those African peacekeepers first. So before sending a military in, you know, not U.S., and I would say not African, what you need to do, at least give the United Nations peacekeepers a chance. Right now, there's 7,000 African peacekeepers there. They have no enforcement ability whatsoever, and that is totally insufficient.
When you were there, did you ever say, you know, I used to be the Senate Majority Leader, I wish I had done more while I had that position of power?
Well, you know, it's interesting. On the floor of the United States Senate, before Secretary Powell, before the administration even considered calling this genocide, in July of 2 years ago now, we passed unanimously on the floor of the United States Senate to call this genocide. About 6 weeks later, Secretary Powell and the administration said, yes, we will call it genocide. And when you call something genocide, it does step up the activity. We've done a lot. Right now, the American people today are feeding about 60% of all the people in Darfur today. So the American people are standing up with the humanitarian efforts today. But we need to do more. We need to have a more concerted effort within our government. We need to increase the sanctions. We need to put increased pressure on the Chinese government so that they can step in and put pressure on Bashir and others.
We're almost out of time, but you did perform surgery there, right?
Yeah, you know what I do when I go to Africa, and I've gone to Africa every year for the last 10 years doing medical mission work. Again, not as a political figure, but operating, doing surgery, addressing issues like clean water and vaccines and pharmaceutical management and food. And that's where my focus was in this time. I've been to Chad before, I've been to Darfur before. This time we focused entirely on that medical humanitarian aspect of it.
I want to pick your brain on a political question before I let you go. Your former colleague Fred Thompson, the senator from Tennessee, the movie star, if you will, you want him to be president of the United States?
Well, you know, I think Fred should consider strongly about entering the race today. He's gotten a lot of support. I've talked to a lot of the financial people in Texas and in Florida and in California and in New York, all of whom said if he will step up, they will support him. You know, he can communicate. He's got that sort of laid-back approach. He can talk to the average person out there. He captures hope within our party, and right now we're not doing as good a job as we might. So I think he should strongly consider it. I have talked to him this week. He's listening very carefully. He probably would not decide for several weeks, but he's listening very carefully.
I'll take that as a yes, Senator. Right?
Say it, Will.
I said I'll take that as a yes, that you would like to see him as
Oh,
president.
yeah. No, I think so today because he captures that hope. He pulls people together in a way. He's got the experience. Obviously, he has experience on the judiciary side, on the legislative side for 8 years. I know him well. I essentially had lunch with him working in the United States Senate for 8 years. He's got that ability to communicate, and that is something that we need, I think, all across America, to bring people together and get out of the rhetoric of the partisanship and the lack of civility that so characterizes Washington today.
He reminds some conservatives of another movie star who became president, but we'll leave that for another occasion. Senator, thanks for your good work in Darfur. Thanks for coming in here.
Thanks, Will. Great. Good to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Bill Frist. Up ahead, our own Zane Vergie with a CNN exclusive. You're going to want to see it. She talks to a former intelligence operative who says the U.S. is taking entirely the wrong approach toward North Korea. We're going to show you why. Plus, the man behind that hugely popular YouTube ad against Hillary Rodham Clinton comes forward. Does he have ties to Barack Obama's campaign? What's going on? Stay with us. You're in The Situation.
If you're a man over 50, it's time to take the Avidart quiz. Are you always going? Do you have trouble going? Are you going at night? Maybe you think you have a going problem. But what if it's a growing problem? What if it's not your bladder, but instead you have an enlarging prostate? 50% of men over 50 do, and you may be able to do something about that going and growing with Avidart. Most medicines only treat symptoms. Avidart, with time, actually shrinks the prostate and improves urinary symptoms. Only your doctor can tell if your symptoms are from an enlarged prostate and not a more serious condition, such as prostate cancer. So have regular prostate exams. Avidart is for men only. Women should not take or handle Avidart due to the risk of a specific birth defect. Tell your doctor if you have liver disease. Rarely, sexual side effects, tenderness, or swelling of the breast can occur. Have you called your doctor? Avidart, for your growing problem.
Dreams are powerful. Just because we're retiring
doesn't mean our dreams have to.
That's why Ameriprise Financial created the Dream Book. Before we talk about numbers, we want to know your dreams.
Call 1-800-509-4799 now
For your free Dream Book. Then let an Ameriprise Financial advisor work with you, one-to-one, face-to-face, to develop a financial plan to help get you there. Because the best book on retirement is the one you'll write.
They are the sharpshooters, the rainmakers, the Mr. Big Shots. We set them up with strength, power, and free high speed, and assist their fadeaways with a dream team of sumptuous beds and linens as crisp and cool as the other side of the pillow.
Courtyard, redesigned by business travelers for business travelers.
Boom shakalaka.
If you purchased or refinanced your home a couple of years ago and you got one of those adjustable teaser rates to qualify, just call or log on to ditech.com and refinance to a low fixed rate. Log on or call 1-800-71-FIXED.
If pain is keeping you from sleeping at night, but you're afraid to take prescription sleep aids, you should know Tylenol PM is different. And when used as directed, it has not been shown to cause dependency.
On an all-new CNN Special Investigations Unit.
He needs to go to the OR. Within the hour, he's going to die.
Interns on the edge.
I tend to pray.
The ultimate drama.
And this is real life.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta and the residents of Grady's Anatomy. CNN Saturday and Sunday night.
Now to a CNN exclusive. Working with the former intelligence operatives, we'll take you inside the most secretive country in the world. And now that it's tested a nuclear device, perhaps the most dangerous country in the world as well. But is the United States taking the wrong approach toward North Korea? Let's turn to our State Department correspondent, Zane Burgess. She's standing by to tell us what she's learned about this very secretive nation. Zane?
Wolf, a few of us know what North Korea is really like. A few of us know what North Koreans actually think of the United States. One man has been there many times to try and understand the secretive state. He says it's not what we think.
Church, James Church. It's a fake name for a real insider, a former Western intelligence operative. He's been to North Korea more than 20 times. He sat in on nuclear negotiations since the 90s. He's agreed to talk to CNN only if his identity stays a secret from North Koreans and from sources he's met in a lifetime of shadows.
It's hard for us to understand how threatening we look to them.
Church says the U.S. government doesn't get North Korea, and that, he says, could lead to a nuclear showdown.
Sometimes we're so interested in lecturing to the North Koreans from our moral soapbox that we forget that there is this other perspective.
Do you think that all policies are essentially doomed to failure if we don't have a better understanding of North Koreans, of the North Korean psyche?
Yes, that's in a nutshell. I think that's our problem.
From his observations at nuclear negotiations, he says Americans tend to talk down to North Koreans, who see that as an insult.
They're very proud and they absolutely want respect.
Church says the West is obsessed with portraying Kim Jong-il as simply a crazed dictator, and this, he says, leads to diplomatic missteps.
But in the process of fixating on him over the years, we've let a number of myths grow up and a lot of simplistic descriptions of him overtake sort of a more serious look.
Then there are those pictures, the mass games, with thousands of North Koreans dancing in perfect unity. He says this footage doesn't represent North Korean life.
Most of their lives are not consumed by these parades. These parades are actually relatively rare.
But the North Korean government allows little or no access to Western media to show images inside the country.
How do North Koreans actually see themselves?
When I sat next to a North Korean diplomat and he began to commiserate with me about how difficult it was to raise teenagers, we were instantly simply two fathers sitting next to each other and not representative of vastly different political and social situations.
James Church has written a novel called A Corpse at the Correo. He hopes that his book will show people the North Korea that he saw. Now, we spoke to State Department officials today about Church's views. They gave no response because they say they don't know who he is. The officials say the idea that no one in the U.S. government has a realistic view on North Korea just isn't accurate. Wolf? You were there along the DMZ last year. You went there. You saw this tunnel where people are trying to escape. Talk a little bit about that, Zane. Well, you know, Wolf, the North Koreans dug 3 infiltration tunnels so they could secretly penetrate South Korea. We actually had a chance. Right here, you can see it in the wall. We're going down into one of them. A North Korean defector told South Koreans about this tunnel, and the South Koreans basically responded by digging their own tunnel to intercept and stop the North Koreans from coming onto their side. Today on the southern side, which is where we were, you can take this tram and you go down this intercepted tunnel and you can go and see what the North Koreans were trying to do. We went down more than 200 feet underground, and we were told then that about 30,000 heavily armed troops could pass through that tunnel per hour. We weren't allowed to take any pictures inside the tunnel, but as you can see, we were having a good time, Wolf. It's a big tourist attraction. I can see. It looks like you were almost at an amusement park. All right, a very serious story, though, Zane. Thank you for bringing it to our viewers. Up ahead, the man behind that hit anti-Clinton YouTube video, speaking out and saying he's proud of it. So why did it cost him his job? And Jack Cafferty wants to know this. Should John Edwards stay in the presidential race after his wife's cancer setback? Jack, in your email, all that coming up.
I'm a network specialist.
I'm a cell site technician.
I'm a data engineer.
I'm a systems engineer.
Our team constantly strengthens the Verizon wireless network, monitoring network usage,
Connection quality.
Network reliability.
The minute there's a surge in the volume of data,
we're there to boost the network's capacity. Do you want to know why Verizon Wireless is such an advanced network?
You're looking at it.
You're looking at it. You're looking at it.
you're looking at it.
Too often political correctness is all about controlling language. We have to tell it like it is.
Lou Dobbs Tonight. CNN coming up next.
It's time for...
If you're looking for a new car, there's no more enjoyable way to get started than with VHIX.com videos. From our virtual test drives powered by Wheels TV or our VHIX buying guides with informative videos comparing pricing, features, JD Power ratings, and more, VHIX videos make car shopping easy and fun. Videos from VHIX.com. Available online under the Autos button at Comcast.net or on Comcast On Demand. Choose Top Picks, then Searchlight, then choose Automotive and VHIX.com.
Welcome to your locally owned Good Neighbor Pharmacy.
Get the best of both worlds. Real value with our 2,800 nationwide network buying power.
You'll find knowledgeable professionals, great service, and a wide selection of products.
Experience savings up to 40% with the Good Neighbor brand.
Save on over-the-counter medications with reduced prices of up to 40% with our high-quality Good Neighbor Pharmacy brand.
Be well and well-informed at your local Good Neighbor Pharmacy.
Surround yourself in luxury with special offers from Beaverton Lincoln Mercury. Lincoln defines American luxury, and luxury starts with the 2006 Mark LT 4x4. Leather, fully loaded, get $16,000 off MSRP. And the 06 Navigator, you get all-round driving comfort and $17,500 off MSRP. Or the 06 Zephyr, $8,000 off MSRP. Don't miss these and other great offers all month long. Only at Beaverton Lincoln Mercury. Experience excellence. Southwest Canyon Road.
Comcast now offers home phone service. This is not internet phone. It's a new, reliable choice in home phone service built from the ground up. With digital voice quality, 12 calling features, voicemail, plus unlimited nationwide long distance. All included for one low monthly price. You can even keep your current phone number when you switch. Call 1-800-COMCAST today and pick up Comcast Digital Voice for as low as $39.95 a month. So are you gonna get it?
Most news in the morning. American Morning. Tomorrow, 6 Eastern.
Let's check in with Lou Dobbs to see what's coming up right at the top of the hour. Lou?
Well, thank you. We'll be reporting tonight on a new effort by lawmakers in corporate America to force an amnesty bill through for 20 million, as many as 20 million illegal aliens. The co-author of the amnesty legislation, Congressman Luis Gutierrez, is among our guests tonight. Also, illegal immigration helping to drive a population boom in counties along our southern border with Mexico. Those illegal aliens could have a huge impact on our elections and our democracy. We'll be telling you all about that and why. And what's left of our middle class faces a major new threat from communist China. Beijing preparing to challenge this country's commercial aircraft industry with technology supplied by, you guessed it, American aircraft manufacturers. We'll have that report, and the Senate Judiciary Committee has approved subpoenas. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Senator Patrick Leahy will join us here tonight. We hope you will as well. Wolf, back to you.
We'll be watching, Lou. Thank you. It's a hit on YouTube, but it turns out that hugely popular anti-Hillary Clinton video cost its creator his job. He's speaking out about it, saying he's proud of it, but is he tied to Senator Barack Obama's campaign? Let's turn to CNN's Carol Costello. We reported on this yesterday. You have more on the fallout today. Carol?
Some more information for you. You know, he's coming forward online, but physically, he's still hiding out.
I intend to keep telling you exactly where I stand.
Philip DeVellis created the anti-Hillary Clinton video sensation secretly, but now boldly blogs, "Hi, I'm Phil. I did it, and I'm proud of it." So why not admit to it in the first place? His employer, Blue State Digital, has done internet strategic planning for Barack Obama. For whatever reason, DeVellis ignored company policy that forbids outside political work or commentary. DeVellis has been terminated. So why did he do it?
I think it gives citizens, whether you're a political professional or whether you're just an average voter, the feeling that you can actually be part of the conversation, that you can affect the discourse.
But DeVellis is no ordinary citizen. He's part of the internet political mafia and has done work for a number of Democratic campaigns. Fellow mafia members are buzzing about his YouTube hit, some accusing him of stealing the idea from a blogger named Connecticut Bob. See for yourself. The difference? Connecticut Bob took aim at Joe Lieberman during his re-election campaign last year and got only 1,000 hits. DeVellis' slicker take has now attracted more than 1.8 million hits. He says he picked on Hillary Clinton because he thinks her conversation is disingenuous, and Obama represents a new kind of politics. And what does Hillary Clinton say?
This is a new era of campaigning. There's new ways of communicating. I think it's exciting that it is democratizing the process.
But DeVellis' ad could have hurt the candidate he aimed to help. Barack Obama's vowed to run a clean campaign and says the Obama campaign and its employees had nothing to do with the creation of the ad. He and Clinton are now trying to control a message that's out of their control. Former Senator Bob Kerrey ran for president in 1992 and is now president of the New School. His take on all of this?
It's apt to be both disruptive and destructive of the way we've done it in the old days. But I would say in general, anything that rewards high quality, anything that distributes the power outward as opposed to inward, and anything that can be done in as unregulated a fashion as possible, I think it's apt to be good.
You know, DeVellis did lose his job, Wolf, but probably will not be unemployed for long. After all, his creation got more than 1.8 million hits. Somebody's going to hire this guy.
You're probably right on that, Carol. Thank you. The man behind the ad didn't come forward without some online detective work. Let's go back to Jackie Schechner. Jackie, what have we been learning?
Well, Wolf, Ariana Huffington exposed Phil DeVellis on her group blog, The Huffington Post. We spoke to her today, and she says that she gathered her team of 35 to track down every lead they possibly could. She said they figured out it was somebody who supported Obama in the political community, and then they just started making phone calls. She wouldn't say to me how she specifically confirmed the final lead, but she says by the time she called Phil DeVellis herself, she knew for a fact it was him. She then posted online on her blog and then invited Phil to post for himself, and that's exactly what he did, Wolf.
Are some of the bloggers, the liberals, sort of upset that it turns out the guy who did this ad himself is a Democrat?
There are some that are, actually. If you go online today, there's actually still some speculation that we still don't know the whole story. But if you do believe it was DeVellis, the reaction from some Democrats is that he perhaps undermined the Democratic Party by creating an anti-Clinton ad and not using his video skills to create an anti-Republican ad. Wolf.
Jackie Schechner and our internet team doing some investigations themselves. Thanks, Jackie. Up next, Jack Cafferty wants to know if you think John Edwards should continue his presidential campaign now that his wife's cancer has returned. We'll be right back.
We came today. Don't feel like gambling on your next home loan? Get it done with Ditech with a low fixed-rate home loan. And don't leave anything to chance. Save that for Vegas. Call Ditech today. 1-800-71-FIXED, a GMAC company.
It's time to hit the road during the Chevy Spring Sales event, where you'll get 0% APR plus $1,000 bonus cash on an 07 Cobalt. Plus, hit the road with confidence thanks to our 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. That's 0% APR plus $1,000 bonus cash on Cobalt during the Chevy Spring Sales event. Hurry, it all ends April 3rd. See your local Chevy dealer.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Not good. The board's asking questions. Hard questions.
About our global integration strategy.
Global integration strategy? You know, the world is flat.
Do we have a strategy for that? That's what they want to know.
Uh-oh. Boy.
Oh, no.
Not good. They're looking for innovation.
A plan.
A schedule. Answers.
Soon.
Yesterday. No. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Not good.
What do we do?
Reign Over Me is one of the most powerful films in years.
He's got to get back in the game. He's got to get his life back.
Don Cheadle is wonderful, and Adam Sandler is simply remarkable. Reign Over Me, rated R, opens everywhere tomorrow.
Introducing Ruby Tuesday's Triple Prime Burger.
It eats like steak and cuts like butter.
The only one made with prime tenderloin, prime ribeye, and prime sirloin. Ground fresh.
The moment you taste a great burger, you know it.
The new Triple Prime Burger. Ruby Tuesday.
Days Inn has everything you need for business.
The best part about Days Inn to me is the free internet.
Plenty of pillows. Good pillows.
Don't you keep on the sunny side of life?
At AG Edwards, we offer objective financial advice. And that can help you build a better nest egg. AG Edwards, fully invested in our clients.
Closed captioning provided by Head On. Head On applied directly to the forehead.
Head On, apply direct.
Head On, apply directly to your forehead. Head On, apply. Head On. I can't stand your commercial, but your product is amazing.
Head On is available without a prescription.
Tonight on 360, the nation was transfixed by the hunt for the man who fatally shot a judge in a crowded courtroom. That was 2 years ago. Incredibly, the trial has been delayed again. Why? We're keeping them honest. 360 tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Are all gasolines the same? At Shell, we're constantly testing to prove there is a difference. From in the lab to driving 5,000 miles on the open road. And while some interesting things happened during the testing, the results proved even more interesting. Low-quality discount gasolines can allow performance-robbing gunk to build up in your engine. Shell gasolines stop gunky buildup, helping your car perform at its best. Now that's a difference.
Check in with Jack Cafferty for the Cafferty File. Jack?
Question is, should John Edwards stay in the presidential race? Ron in St. Louis writes, I'm a Republican who has now decided to back Edwards for president. Unless you've been through this, and I have, you have no idea how much this shows a person's real character. Here are two people I would like to see in the White House. They're showing unconditional love for each other, which is important in going through this, as well as for the country. He's getting my vote. Shirley in Atlanta, yes, John Edwards should stay in the race. The country needs him more than ever before. Elizabeth Edwards has encouraged him to run, and it may be the best thing for her, too. Ask any cancer patient, they'll tell you keeping busy is vital. Sitting at home worrying does no one any good, and the campaign trail may actually help them. Michelle in Tallahassee, as a person whose father was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer metastasized to bone in late August and who lost him in mid-December, I would respectfully suggest that Edwards reconsider his decision. When my dad was first diagnosed, I felt the same way the Edwards feel, and my dad was adamant that my life and the lives of all who cared about him not be disrupted. We all honored that wish. However, if I knew then that I'd only have a little over 3 months to be with him, I would have spent every minute with him. Somebody named A, just an initial, writes, it's none of your business until he decides to tell us. How dare you trivialize a deadly crisis with a quiz. Paul is a doctor in New York. John Edwards should spend time with his wife, considering how bad a stage 4 breast cancer prognosis portends. He won't win the presidency, and his time is best spent with his wife. And Carrie in Jacksonville, Florida, having survived a stage 4 breast cancer, I believe each person and his or her spouse make their own choices. If you've never walked in the path of the disease and treatment, then it's unfair to make any comments. I think I lived because I went to work as many days as I was physically able. Aren't they doing the same thing? If you didn't see your email here, go to CNN.com/Cafferty File. We post more of them there. There are also video clips of the Cafferty File. Wolf.
See you in 1 hour, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back. Let's go to Lou in New York. Lou?
Thank you, Wolf. Tonight, lawmakers and their allies in corporate America have launched their latest attempt to force an amnesty bill for up to 20 million illegal aliens through Congress. The co-author of the amnesty legislation, Congressman Luis Gutierrez, is among our guests here tonight. Also, illegal immigration helping to drive a population boom all along our southern border with Mexico. And those illegal aliens could have a tremendous impact on our democracy and our elections. We'll have the story. And what's left of our middle class faces a major new threat from communist China. Beijing preparing to challenge American commercial aircraft makers with technology supplied by, you guessed it, American aircraft manufacturers. We'll have that special report, all the day's news, a great deal more straight ahead here tonight.
This is Lou Dobbs Tonight. News, debate, and opinion for Thursday, March 22nd. Live in New York, Lou Dobbs.
Good evening, everybody. Tempers rose in the Senate today as Democrats demanded that White House officials give public testimony under oath in the showdown over the firing of U.S. attorneys. Judiciary Committee Chairman Senator Patrick Leahy said President Bush is, quote, not the decider for the United States Senate. Attorney General Alberto Gonzales, for his part today, declared he will not resign. The White House also refused to give ground. It said, quote, we're not negotiating. Dana Bash reports tonight on the escalating showdown between Congress and the president. Suzanne Malveaux reports on the White House's blunt refusal to negotiate. And Andrea Koppel reports on Democratic efforts to challenge the president on another front, the conduct of the war in Iraq. We turn first to Dana Bash. Dana?
Well, Lou, as you said, the Senate Judiciary Chairman took a direct jab at the president today. He said he may be the decider for the White House, but he's not the decider for the United States Senate. That just before Democrats took another step towards a constitutional clash with the White House.
It may have been frustration. It may have been a negotiating tactic, but the Democratic chairman's tone was angry.
What we're told we can get is nothing. Nothing. We're told that we can have a closed-door meeting with no transcript, not under oath, limited number of people, and the White House will determine what the agenda is. That, to me, is nothing.
Like the House did a day earlier, Senate Democrats authorized subpoenas for Karl Rove and other Bush aides to testify about why federal prosecutors were fired. The subpoenas won't be sent yet. Democrats just wanted a bargaining chip.
It'll only strengthen our hand in getting to the bottom of this.
Senators sparred over the prospect of a constitutional clash with the White House. Most Republicans calling it too soon to threaten subpoenas.
Do the informal interviews that they have suggested, and if that is not sufficient, then we would be in a position to articulate with specificity, perhaps, a basis to justify a subpoena.
The committee's top Republican suggested sending the White House a counteroffer, but the Democratic chairman said why bother, since the president's offer seemed to be take it or leave it.
He made it very clear through his spokesman that it's non-negotiable.
A press secretary getting tough doesn't mean that he can't be softened up.
Do you mean the
senator getting tough? Now that's another matter.
Do you mean that the president would purposely mislead us?
That led to this observation.
This is high school. This is about who can make somebody bloodied, who can make somebody look bad. A no is not always a no. My wife said no the first 4 times I tried to take her out on a date.
Now, Democrats may now have the power to subpoena the president's top aides, but the question is, will they actually use it? The Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid said today that he thinks if Congress doesn't negotiate a solution with the White House by the time Congress comes back from spring break, that's in mid-April, he thinks Karl Rove and other top Bush aides should be subpoenaed. Lou?
Dana, thank you very much. We're going to learn more about what's going on. I'll be talking with the Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman, Senator Patrick Leahy, here later. He will explain the Democratic strategy in this legal, political, and what some call a constitutional showdown. The Bush administration today refused for its part to make any concessions to Congress. The White House said it has no intention of allowing current and former White House officials to testify in public and under oath. The White House said Congress does not have the constitutional oversight responsibility for the White House. Suzanne Malveaux reports from precisely there, the White House. Suzanne.
Well, Lou, today we heard from the White House. They flatly rejected Senator Arlen Specter's compromise for some sort of closed testimony and at least have these conversations be accessible by limited transcripts, some sort of record here. So the White House position has not changed when it comes to this deal. What has changed, however, is somewhat of the tone. We saw a tone that was dramatically different than yesterday, toned down, if you will, and it is really a part of this White House's effort to cajole those members of Congress, A, to accept their deal, and B, to lay off the Attorney General, Alberto Gonzales.
This initial position is a significant compromise in this sense. We could have said, no, we're not going to do it. We're not going to share in White House deliberations, and we could have cited any number of legal precedents. What we've said instead is that we're going to help you assemble every document and make available every individual, both at the Justice Department and the White House, you need to hear from. And you'll be able to measure every single data point, every single communication.
I'm not going to resign. I'm going to stay focused on protecting our kids. There's a lot of work that needs to be done around the country.
Now, Lou, here, really the thinking at the White House and really the gamble that they're taking here is they believe that Democrats in Congress have just as much to lose as the White House does. One person saying, look, you think this is going to be a lame duck presidency. It's also going to be a lame duck Congress if they take this all the way and they wrap it up inside of the courts. They say, look, try to get an immigration reform bill passed or a minimum wage increase or even a bill regarding the Iraq war. They say it is given that the president is going to be gone in 2 years. They say members of Congress, some of them too, may be gone in 2 years as well, Lou.
It would be interesting to see what the public reaction to all of those possibilities might be. Suzanne, thank you very much. Suzanne Malveaux from the White House. Congressional Democrats tonight trying to step up their political assault on President Bush's conduct of the war in Iraq. The House today began debating a war spending bill that would require the withdrawal of all our combat forces by the fall of next year. But Democrats remain deeply divided over the direction of this war. Andrea Koppel has our report.
The biggest resistance isn't coming from the other side, from Republicans who are mostly united in opposition, but rather from a handful of undecided Democrats, including freshman Keith Ellison of Minnesota, Indiana's Brad Ellsworth, and Georgia's Hank Johnson. In fact, Republicans accuse Democratic leaders of adding billions in sweeteners to the bill's already steep price tag in hopes of buying some votes.
It enjoys such limited support on the other side of the aisle that it had to be laden with unrelated pork in order to win enough votes to have any hope of passing.
That said, the list has grown shorter. In the last day or so, anti-war Democrat James McGovern of Massachusetts, who'd been on the fence, said he now supports it.
I have come to the conclusion that defeating the supplemental bill before us today would send a message to George Bush and Dick Cheney that they will continue to have a free pass from this Congress to do whatever the hell they want to do.
And McGovern's not the only one who's just come on board.
Congressman Cummings' office.
Maryland's Elijah Cummings, another anti-war Democrat in his 7th term who sits on the Armed Services Committee, says he's been getting mixed signals from his constituents, some urging him to support the bill, others lobbying against it. Now Cummings says he's decided to vote yes and insists Democratic leaders didn't twist his arm.
And I've also come to the conclusion that I do not have the right to remain silent on this war. And a vote against the supplemental would cause us to have what I would call a stripped down bill, and there would be no voice saying, Mr. Bush, please stop this war immediately.
And tonight, House Democratic leaders insist momentum is in their direction, moving in their direction. Earlier today, the 4th-ranking Democrat, Rahm Emanuel, told me they needed about 1 or 2 more votes
to get to that 218. And Lou, he was expressing confidence that they'll get there by tomorrow. Lou?
Okay, earlier estimates had suggested that the Democrats need as many as 10 Republicans and as many as 40 Republicans in the House. It's interesting to see the math evolve as we move closer, apparently, to some action on this legislation. Andrea, thank you very much. Andrea Koppel from Capitol Hill. Insurgents in Iraq have killed 3 more of our troops, a soldier and a Marine in Al Anbar province and a soldier in western Baghdad. 63 of our troops have been killed so far this month in Iraq. 3,229 of our troops since the war began have been killed. 24,187 of our troops wounded. 10,772 of them seriously. Still ahead here, troops in Iraq and Afghanistan say their lives are at risk because of unreliable weapons. General David Grange joins us. Also, presidential candidate John Edwards today made a very personal announcement. Also